In previous video, we discussed about structure of eye. Now in this lecture, we will discuss about retina. But before that, let's discuss about visual processing. Visual processing, it is the process of converting light energy into a meaningful image. It is a complex process which is facilitated by numerous brain structures, including retina and higher level cognitive processes. We all know that most of our impressions of the world and our memories of it, they are based on sight. But creating these images or impressions of world and its memories is not so simple. Have you ever thought about how we perceive the form and movement? Or how do we distinguish colors? Or how do we identify different objects? All these things, they are achieved by extraordinary computational achievement of our visual system. The brain analyzes a visual scene at three different levels: low level, intermediate level, and high level. Low level visual processing, it is done by retina. At the lowest level, the retinal photoreceptor layer, it samples the visual image, and then visual attributes such as local contrast, orientation, color, and movement, they are discriminated and then transmitted to higher areas of brain via the optic nerve. This process involves three steps, that is phototransduction, pre-processing, and adaptation. Phototransduction is a process by which light is converted into electrical signals in the rod cells, cone cells, and photosensitive ganglion cells of the retina. We will discuss about this process in detail in next video. Then coming to pre-processing, it involves discarding much of the stimulus information available at the receptor level and extracting certain low-level features of visual field which is useful to the central nervous system, like we can say local contrast, orientation, color, and movement. Then coming to adaptation, it is the ability of retina to adjust various levels of light. Then coming to intermediate level, it involves analysis of layout of scenes and of surface properties, parsing the visual image into surfaces and global contours, and distinguishing foreground from background. In simple words, we can say that local visual features are assembled into surfaces. Objects are segregated from background, that is, the foreground is differentiated from background. This is called surface segmentation. And then local orientation is integrated into global contours. Like for example, imagine retina is sending image as broken lines which are oriented in different direction. Then they are assembled at higher cortical area and converted into shape or contour. This process is known as contour integration. And finally, surface shape, it is identified from shading and kinematic cues. This whole complex intermediate processing, it is achieved at various areas in brain. These areas, they include V1, which is concerned with edge detection. Then V2, it is concerned with detecting object surface properties, like we can say depth and contour. Then V3, it is important for determining the properties of object's motion. To be more precise, it determines object's direction of movement and its speed. Then V4, it differentiates different colors and shapes. Then V5, it analyzes self-motion. And then finally, V6, it determines object's motion relative to the background. Then next is higher level visual processing. It involves final step, that is object recognition. Object recognition, it is done by integration of visual primitives. So what are the visual primitives? They are the smallest image subsets with specific geometrical and or structural properties like image contrast, orientation, color, depth, movement, etc. Once a scene has been parsed by the brain and objects recognized, these objects can be matched with memories of shapes and their associated meanings. Like for example, imagine if you are seeing a horse, then similar images are linked together, like images of different types of horses will come into your mind. This process is called image linking. Then once you recognize the object as horse, it will be differentiated from similar categories. Like you can differentiate it with donkey, you can say whether it is a real horse or a toy horse or a children's ride in the shape of a horse, etc., etc. This process is achieved by categorical linking. And simultaneously, various past memories which are associated with the horse, they will come into your mind. Like if you have previously participated in horse racing or played polo, saw the horse in circus, etc., etc. This whole process is called associative linking. Then finally, various other cognitive features are linked with it, like tick-tick sound of a stepping horse, feel of horse soft skin, and emotional attachment with the horse, etc., etc. So wow, all these complex visual processing occurs in fraction of second. So I can say vision is one of the greatest gifts of the nature. And not only this, but the vision also has an important role in guiding body movements, particularly hand movement. Imagine you plan to take a glass of water and your hand automatically adjusts the grip according to size of glass. And if you try to pick a paper, your same hand, its fingers and thumb, they automatically adjust their positions to hold it. You don't even need to think or calculate size of the glass or thickness of paper before doing it. It all happens automatically without us realizing all this is happening. Wow, that's amazing. Now finally, we come to retina. So first question is, what is retina? It is a delicate light sensitive membrane that forms the innermost layer of eyeball. It extends from margin of optic disc to just behind the ciliary body. It is developed from neuroectoderm and it is part of diencephalon. Retina is a part of central nervous system and is actually a brain tissue. It is the only part of central nervous system that can be visualized non-invasively. Retinal circuit, it performs low-level visual processing as we discussed earlier. In simple words, we can say that retina is the brain's window to the world. Retina is made up of 10 distinct layers. If we say from inside to out, these layers, they are as follows. First, the innermost layer, it is inner limiting membrane. It is formed by the opposition of expanded ends of Muller fibers. The next is nerve fiber layer. It is composed of non-myelinated axons of ganglionic cells. Then comes ganglion cell layer. It is composed of ganglion cell bodies. The next is inner plexiform layer. It is composed of synapses between dendroids of ganglion cells and axons of bipolar cells. It also contains processes from amacrine cells. The next is inner nuclear layer. It is composed of oval flattened bipolar cells. It also contains horizontal and amacrine cells. Then comes outer plexiform layer. It is composed of terminal fibers of rods and cones and dendroids from bipolar cells. The next is outer nuclear layer. It is composed of fibers and granules of rods and cones. Then next comes external limiting membrane. It is formed by chief supporting elements of retina, the Muller fibers. Then next is layer of rods and cones. In this layer, the light sensitive portions of rods and cones, they are arranged in parallel fashion and they are arranged perpendicular to the inner surface of eyeball. Then last is layer of pigment epithelium. It is the outermost layer situated adjacent to choroid. The hexagonal epithelial cells in this layer, they contains a dark pigment called melanin. This pigment, it absorbs light and thereby prevents reflection of light rays back from the retina, and hence it maintains high visual acuity. So that's all for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.